Hello from Woodshop Garage Land. I'm out here in the humidity with the fans going, the doors open, and I'm just going to show you what I'm doing in here as soon as I quit making a mess. But just a little Sunday afternoon thing, and I'll flip this around and show you. So there's the garage with all the stuff stacked in here that Gary Stufflebeam gave me, and my table's painted and ready to go together, so that ought to be interesting. And this crazy looking mess is what a fingerboard looks like when you glue them up to the neck. And it's a little bit of an interesting, weird one, because it's normally doesn't look quite like that, but I've had to do this because the way that I'm putting this thing together is a little bit odd. It's that flying V right there. This is one of these kits that you see online that come from overseas that are pretty cheap, and they're cheap because they're not made well. And so what I've done is I've taken it apart and basically just used the wood from the body and the wood from the back of the neck, stripped the fingerboard off, made my own fingerboard, put a double action truss rod in there, put a cherry overlay on the front of this, and strengthened this up because this is a real weak point in here. But just thought I'd show you guys that real quick, because I will have to take this indoors, or the glue that I use will not it will not properly cure up in the humidity. So I'm gonna have to take that inside. But I'll share a little trick with you. What I use is that, just regular old Titebond glue, and I mix it with stuff that I save, sawdust from various projects. That is mahogany and cherry sawdust mixed together, and then I have some good old maple in there. And the reason what I do with that is it's the same thing when you do fiberglass and you use micro balloons or some sort of a filler to make something that's essentially Bondo, but a whole lot stronger than that. And what you do with the wood, when you do that with wood, it gives it a slight bit of flexibility, but still holds the wood together the way that Titebond is supposed to do that. And in a guitar, when you're moving the truss rod around, you want it to flex slightly without breaking the glue joint. So I use it for that reason. And in this particular case, I've thickened it up a little bit because, like I said, the wood on these things were bad, and there's some imperfections in there, so I fill in the imperfections with my little sawdust glue mixture, and it works really well. And it's stronger than the wood when it's done, but you cannot cure it in a humid environment. It has to go indoors. I'll put it in the shop where it's air conditioned, low humidity, and that will cure it properly. It'll have to set for 2 or 3 days. But I've had this crazy kit laying around in a box for probably 4 or 5 years, so why not, 4 or 5 days isn't gonna hurt anything. So anyway, that's part one of the little fun Sunday afternoon things. If I get into doing something else, I'll share that with you. Bye. There we go. Little laser etched glass from Bob Taylor. Robert Taylor on Facebook, for those of you who read the names. But anyway, I'm back in here after putting the neck over here that I was showing you guys earlier, and doing a little bit of straightening up in the shop on Sunday afternoon. It's been a source of a little bit of frustration this weekend, because everything that I worked on, I seemed to find each item that I worked on find more broken stuff. So I'd fix one part of it and then find more broken stuff. So I haven't solved anything this weekend. I've just made more stuff to find. So it's a little bit of a frustrating weekend, but that happens. Anyway, there's nothing bad. It's just I haven't found the complete problem on these things yet. I was messing with 3 of Brent's Marshalls, and and the more I would find bad parts in the Marshalls, fix that part and find another bad part. So I've got 3 Marshalls here in the shop that are all ripped apart, and I just keep finding more broken stuff. One of them he loaned out and it came back trashed, and it's just a mess. And the other 2, one of them I'm going to show you in a moment. That one, I found a bunch of stuff in it. I had to order some parts because it had some very specific capacitors that I don't keep in stock that are like 10,000 microfarads. So yeah, I don't keep that kind of stuff around. So I had to order that. But it's I was going to show you what happens to a capacitor when it fails, when it really fails. I've shown you on here a couple times when they blow apart and all this. So I'm going to show you what's inside that. So anyway, and I got the second one of Joel's PV amps working, sort of. I got it to power up. And when I got it to power up, because it wasn't powering up at all, the second one, powered up, it sounded like somebody welding. So I immediately shut it off. So I've got to find out what's going on in there, because guitar amps are not supposed to sound like welders. So anyway, let me flip the camera around here, and I'll show you the insides of Brent's Marshall over here and show you what the remnants of a capacitor. So just one moment. All right, here we are with a British amp. Ta-da! And generally, if you're looking at like cars and things, that's a bad symbol to see on the car. The amplifiers just makes it very, very frustrating. So anyway, this capacitor, I'm going to show you. See that? There's nothing inside it. It's just an empty can. And it's still attached, but there's a little gap around the bottom. And coming out of that gap was all of this stuff. All of this nice fuzzy stuff right there. That fuzz is some of the dielectric, the remnants of the dielectric that's inside the capacitor. So that capacitor exploded, and it blew the fuzz right out of the bottom of it and blew it all over the inside of the amp. So that's neat. But strangely enough, though, usually it blows the end cap off. This one, it blew out the bottom and blew it all over the amp, and then it just left an empty can there, and it's not doing anything. This one, I suspect, is also bad because it's a little bit loose. So that maybe the base may have blown out on that. These three are in the same circuit, so it's it can be a little problem. But what else I was going to show you, if I can get it right here in the light just properly, is that resistor is not supposed to be black. And it is black because it burned. And it has a little sister right there and right there. Let me get it in the light just right. Those two are also burned. And those two that are burned, that are alongside these canisters here, those are the main fuses. And they're burned out too. So you've got these little light indicators that come on when the fuses fail. Well, those light indicators won't work either because the two resistors that power them also failed. So this thing just literally blew itself up. I mean, it just smoked. So hopefully this is the worst damage here and here, and hopefully that's the power transformer. It should be fine. But this one over here, this is the output transformer. This is what hooks it to this, well, I'm looking at it backwards. This is the output transformer I was pointing at first. I've got the amp upside down and backwards, so I'm confusing myself in the camera. So hopefully this one is not blown up, because if this one's blown up, that's going to be expensive. So hopefully it didn't fry this, because that, and you can see by these wires right here, comes around here and hooks right there and hooks to these. So if that is okay, if that turns out that that's all right, then we may get lucky with this thing. So anyway, hopefully this exploding capacitor is the worst of it. And I do have to clean all the fuzz out of here because that has oils and things in it that we don't want inside those controls. So I'm going to clean that out and see if we can get this thing fire up. But I had to order, I have these resistors in stock here, but I had to order this capacitor. That's the one I was telling you was a little odd. That is a 10,000 microfarad 63 volt capacitor. Very weird little cookie. So I had to order that one. I don't have that one in stock. I do have the other two, but I don't have that one. So anyway, few days, I'll get that thing here and we'll be in business. All right, so there's your fuzzy capacitor remnants inside that Marshall amp. That explains why it went pop. I have 3 of his amplifiers in here, blew fuses and decided they don't like to work anymore. So those kind of faults are a little bit better to find because they're solid faults. You can track that down and fix it and at least get it to come alive and see what else is wrong with it. The instance like the JCM 900 where it just has low output, that's tricky because you're chasing a signal to find out where the output's getting choked. And unfortunately, my shop, I don't have an oscilloscope and I don't have a signal generator. Those are expensive pieces of equipment to get the correct ones, and I don't have the money to get them, and I don't have the equipment. Therefore, it's very difficult to chase a signal like that. So those kind of little things are a little bit tricky when your shop is not completely put together yet. So like I said, this is all a relatively new endeavor dealing with troubleshooting like that, signal chasing and things like that. The old hand-wired type amplifiers like I was showing the other day, like the trainers and the old Fenders and stuff like that, troubleshooting those is a lot easier because of the way the signal path works, and there's a lot less microelectronics in there and things like that. So it makes it it's a lot less complicated. There's no switching and those kind of amps, things like that. The less complicated, the easier it is to track down the signal path. You can do it by voltages. When you're dealing with these channel switching type amps, there's op amps, which are computer chips inside a little container. There's op amps. There's various types of transistorized relays and things like that in there that are very tricky to chase a signal through. So it gets a little bit complicated. Anyway, that's my rant on complicated amplifiers. So, and I've got to tear apart Joel's PV. However, the PVs are solid state, not tubes, so they're it's a little bit more obvious when something's gone pop in one of those because they're not digital, they're solid state. They have big transistor outputs. They're literally like silver things like that big. Made you look, Rick. Anyway. Yeah, they're a little bit easier to deal with, so I'll be able to wrap that thing up fairly decent, I believe. So anyway, everybody have a nice Sunday afternoon, evening. I'm gonna go sit with the cats and watch a little Star Trek and have a little chocolate ice cream and enjoy the rest of my evening. And keep the phone handy because I got my weather alerts on it, and we're supposed to get a little poopy weather. So hopefully it doesn't get too crazy and everybody's okay. And everybody be careful. And for all of my friends from coast to coast all around the country and in other parts of the world, in South America and things like that, for all of my friends all over the place, peace, love you, and God bless you, and enjoy your week. And I'll see you later on. Bye.